What's going to be one famous? So we're back again. This is part two. I don't think we need to. We're not going to have much more to cover. Really, there might be a part three. Let's get this back full size on the screen for the fam. And yeah, my headphones are pretty much toast, man. Yeah, pretty much toast. But let's get into it. So I skipped the parts where it was kind of silent because that's where I was speaking. And of course, I explained last time I can't screen record and record my voice at the same time. So it didn't show up anywhere. So let's get right into it.
Okay, did you hear about FWA, Vic?
So she asked about FWA, Foundational White Americans.
It's foundational whitey Americans. They're taking a chapter out of FBA book, and what they're saying to people like the Irish and Italian are this: if your family cannot be traced to either the Mayflower, around the period of the Revolutionary War, or around the time the Constitution was written, then you're not foundationally a white tea American and you are an immigrant. So they're basically telling their immigrant people that they are not like.
No, what I said was basically it was like it's kind of weird because they're immigrants themselves, and I also mentioned that I've heard that term used by this one white guy last year. I want to say it was springtime last year. He would call into Tariq's lives and say, "Oh, he was like this was the first time we was introduced, and it was kind of a troll thing." But as we've seen in history, they'll joke with us. They'll joke about certain things and joke so much until it becomes something tangible. They everything's in jest, everything's jest until it's like, oh no, foundational white American. We're serious. So it's kind of like breaking ice, like getting you used to the term, like because you first hear like that, what? Dude, get out of here. Move, bro. Move around, bro. Move around. Ain't nobody, bro. You tweaking. And then they keep saying it, and eventually it just kind of. I hate to use this analogy, but like the sisters who got the smoke detector alarms, they just be chirping and beeping, and they get used to it, and it kind of blends into the background. They don't ever hear it. It's kind of like that. This their way of kind of softly introducing something to us, and they get us to accept it over a long period of time. So them using foundational white Americans now as and standing on that, I'm not surprised, right? Because they've done it for so long. Now it's like, okay, well, it sticks. You guys aren't, you're no longer objecting to it. So you're used to it. So, yeah, that's what they do. And then again, that also shows that we are the trendsetters. We start something and everyone wants to latch on in their own way, and they can't call themselves foundational Black Americans. So you swap out black with white, and bada bing, bada boom. You know what I'm saying? So here, let me skip through. Like I said, it's basically what I was saying at the time. Let me skip over to the next part.
Me too. That's the way I'm going. We're just going to sip.
And yeah, so basically what I ended up saying, the last thing I said was, we're going to let them deal with their own issues. We're going to let them infight, and we're going to let them have that moment. And while they're doing what they're doing, we're going to build ourselves up.
Back and let them handle their immigrant class. Okay, that's what I. That's my plan. Yeah, handle your business. Because you know what it is. I don't know how much time you spend on this app, but if we're having talks about what we deserve as far as reparations, here comes those non-FWAs talking about, well, my family wasn't here. Why do we have to pay you? XYZ, because they got the most handouts. Because remember, even MLK speaks on it. When they were asking for tangibles for us, YT, the government was telling the European peasants to come get this land. And so they were
Mm-hmm.
getting things such as the Homestead Act
Yep.
and stuff like that, right? And
1863.
so those adult that class of people who wasn't here during the establishing of everything or before we won the white tea people won their independence from the British, but they come in here trying to run things. And then they're problematic to us because when we're having our spaces, our discussions, they're like, well, why do we got to pay for it? How's this money getting spent?
That's another thing. Everybody's wondering, oh, how are we going to do it? The same way we did Ukraine. The same way we did Ukraine. And quit worry about how we're going to spend it. I think the funniest thing we saw when somebody was trying to troll Tariq was when our brother said, hey, if I choose to buy a crack rock, it said that on my desk. Wait, say, if I choose to buy a rock of crack, sit on my dresser and stare at that crack rock, that's my choice. And he's right. It's how ridiculous it is at times when people try to pocket watch us. And I remember I had a homie that was saying, yeah, no, man, we're going to buy rims. We're going to buy. And I used to be on that wave. I try to be as transparent as possible. I used to be, yeah, man, we're going to do that. But that was, the ignorance. And that was about 5 years ago. So fast forward. It's like, nah. Why am I thinking along those lines? I don't hang out with people who do that. Like, I got a Yukon Denali. It's paid for. I am dumping my money to what matters right now. I got a water pump I'm finna replace. I got a power steering pump I'm finna replace. I got a new belt. So when I do the water pump, I'm doing the power steering pump. New belt. Doing it all in one day. You know what I'm saying? I'm three birds, one stone. I could have took that same money and bought a radio. But my vehicle doesn't need a radio. It needs a water pump. And eventually it's going to need the radiator. Because, as you buy new stuff, the new stuff's going to force the older stuff to break, to wear and tear faster because it's new. I have new upper and lower radiator hoses. I bought a new thermostat. Now the water pump's going out. Cool. Putting the water pump on there, new thermostat, and then the radiator's going to eventually go out. And especially with it doing triple duty. It's cooling the oil, cooling the motor, and it's cooling the transmission fluid. So it's going to go out. I know it's going to go out. It's just the way it goes. But I'm putting my money where it needs to go. And most foundational Black Americans are going to put their money where it needs to go. That business idea that you had that you want to get popping. The land that you was going to buy so you can start farming. You know what I'm saying? A big thing that they're promoting right now is rabbit farming. Farming rabbits for meat. Like there's specific farms that farm rabbits for meat. There are specific farms that farm chickens for meat. I don't think you really get a duality. Like usually if they're doing chicken, like they're selling eggs, that type of farm is set up specifically for that venture. If they're selling chickens for food, for meat, then their farm is specifically set up for that venture. You get chickens, you kind of fatten them up, and you know that's how you work it. You get new chicks, raise them up, fatten them up, sell them for meat. They're doing the thing with rabbits. So some of you may be wanting to do that. You get reparations, you're gonna jump into it. You've already done the other research. You just lack the capital. And what we're finding out with that the brother from Vay Apparel, he's learning just like a lot of us are learning, myself included. Unless you meet certain metrics, people really don't want to fund you. And so if you already have an idea, but you don't have the means to start it, it's impossible for you to get funded. There's people who, I think he said his company's been around for five plus years. He can't get funded. There's two companies I told you guys, Honey Mommy, she closed her business at 9 years, and my brother from Doughboy Donuts, at the 9-year mark, he closed his business. I'm pretty sure it was funding related. I don't know if it's sure. Melvin, if you see his brother, reach out to me. Let's chop it up, man. I don't want you to necessarily relive that, the time for the sake of bringing up bad memories. But if you have any information in the game that you can get, lay down on some of these young folk, other entrepreneurs coming up, man, I think it would be super helpful, and help people really kind of navigate these waters a lot better. But that's what we do. We're going to put the money into something viable. Life is going to buy more stock. We're going to buy stocks in these companies that are forcing us out. Okay, you forcing us out. Well, I'm going to buy stock into you. The McDonald's, the Lockheed Martins, the other companies, especially the ones that pay dividends back. Cool, I'm going to buy into you. Let the dividends stack up for over years. I'm going to compound it. And then, think about it. You get $200,000-$300,000 to invest in these companies, and you compound that. 3 for 5 years, you start seeing some serious dividends back, right? You're gonna start seeing some serious dividends back. You got 4 or 5 companies paying you $50 in dividends quarterly, on average, because they ebb and flow. They're gonna go down, they're gonna go back up. You're gonna family, we are gonna change the way wealth is moving in this country if we have reparations and they notice. All right, family, back to our sister
You
BX.
are funny. And like we're gonna use this money
I
wisely.
forgot what I said, family. I forgot what I said, family. That's the only thing. I said something witty, and usually if you say something real witty, you forget it after a day or two.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I chime in just a little on that, because from what I heard, this been going on for a while. They
Really?
are the foundational white tea people. They
Uh-huh.
are mad about the resources that's been going to the Ukrainian people and the immigrants
Okay.
that's been coming over here right now.
So at the time, I didn't really push back on that, but I don't really see enough of it. Now, I did cover where there were a few white dudes that were asking the question, "Hey, how come money for foundational Black Americans?" Well, he said Black Americans. How come reparations for Black Americans isn't feasible? We giving all this money away to Ukraine, to the UK. I mean, not to the UK, but to Ukraine, so forth and so on. How come it's not feasible? And I said that's a good thing. That's very telling because usually those conversations are had in private. They don't ever put it on a public platform like a TikTok. They don't ever usually do that. And so the fact that that was happening was like that's very telling. Us staying codified, staying within message discipline is really pushing the needle and make people say, they may have a point. Maybe I'm tripping. It probably not going to be as bad as we think it is. This actually could help the economy because we will stimulate the economy. That's a lot of us, man. We got some debts that we need to get paid off. Think about it. You pay for school loans, all this stuff, stimulate the economy. Okay, money's going back in the economy, stimulating it, allowing for new ventures, people to build new things. It's like I said, it's a whole farce. This idea that we're going to squander off all of our wealth if we get it all in one lump sum or 2 or 3 checks over the course of 5, 6 years or whatever. That's nonsense. We're not going to do that. We've never been that type of people. Name another group of people that can go from they can take a town and in 10 years have millionaires, multiple millionaires before it's destroyed. Before it's destroyed. Shout out to the survivors of the Tulsa Race Massacre, and shame on the judge for throwing out their case with prejudice. May you not rest in power. May you not rest in peace. All right. Hopefully your answers, no, your answers ain't gonna get on your bumper. They probably love you for that. But hopefully you are very uncomfortable for the rest of your days, madam.
So this is
What
what I
about the ones who came like in the 19, like after emancipation, when the land was taken from us, but they
yes.
conveniently, like 1790 and up to like our civil rights time, those white
Yes.
people that migrated here. Uh, um, so they really shouldn't have a say in anything. And so
They
what
shouldn't.
have you heard that they're telling those type of people? Was it similar to what I was saying? They're not the original white tees, and
Yeah, they're
what type
saying,
of things do they want to say that they aren't entitled to? That would be good to know because that I don't know.
well, you know that Steve Bannon, crazy self, been trying to say that reparations should be given to the blacks, some of the Latinos, and some of the whitey people, and he's talking about those people that was here before, the newer immigrants. So I think
Hmm.
that that's why they're
Ain't
starting
nobody
to
paying attention to Steve
delineate
Bannon.
from the second
I thought he
round
was persona
immigrants
non
that
grata in his
came,
own community.
because they've been talking about reparations for the Hispanics, the blacks, and the whitey people.
But so here's the thing though. If there was a second round of immigrants, there was a first round or a first wave of immigrants. So this Family, we can't have nothing. They're starting to delineate because we delineated. Now, this is what I want you to take away from this. Oftentimes, other groups won't verbally tell us, "Hey, you are on the right path. Hey, what you're doing is actually working." We're actually jealous. We didn't think of it before you guys. Telltale signs is when you start seeing people emulate exactly what you're doing. All right. Everybody was on our bumper and still on our bumper. Delineate, y'all so divisive. You guys are xenophobic, this, that, another. Family, these so-called foundational white Americans are now, quote, delineating because they don't want to be mixed in, quote, with Irish. And I haven't seen these personally. I'm just going to go by what our sisters are saying. But that just shows we're the trendsetters in all things, social, political, economics, culture, style. We lead the pack in everything. You know what I'm saying? Everything, pretty much everything that's righteous, or everything that is upwardly moving, upwardly mobile. And it's crazy that we just can't get folk to act right for the better good. We can't get the justice we're supposed to get without tearing something up. We can't get the respect that we're supposed to get without beating on people's bumper. And if folk would just do right, what Lauryn Hill said in that song, it could all be so simple, but they would rather make it hard. This country could be far more advanced than what it is. Far more advanced than what it is. We got the young brother who's taking plastic and making gasoline, alternative fuels out of it. We got another young brother who's literally making exoskeletons based off of scrap metals and parts he's able to get a hold of. We have so many geniuses in our community still to this day, after they tried to whitewash our inventors, after they tried to hide them from us. Shout out to the Hidden Color series, man. Shout out to all the people who constantly keep putting this information in front of us, because if we didn't have that constantly going on to beat back the propaganda that makes it look like we're just degenerates from the moment we are born to the moment we die, we would believe that nonsense, man. That self-deprecation is something serious, man. We would literally be treating ourselves like trash. We can't do right. And that was the thing I used to hear a lot. We can't do right. Black folk can't do. Black folk. When I started MyBlackU universe, nix that. When I started supporting black-owned companies heavily, man, I was called Baba Ak. I was called the militant. I was called all kind of names by my family. I was called all kind of names. I was like, damn, y'all family. I'm doing this, and you don't know the black folk can't. And I had to stick to it and stay on that path. I kept supporting World and Vision. These socks are just generic socks right now. But yeah, World and Vision. You guys saw me do the smart glasses from Inspire. Inspire, I still want my phone though. Still want my phone. I just gonna call it what it is. Like the shoes, the Gash. I got several pairs of the Gash shoes. I bought several pairs. I was still trying to give them away. You guys didn't want them. It is what it is. My underwears, my drawers, out of DeSoto. And I got other pair of drawers by the brand Champs. I've kept on it so much and stayed with it to the point where I had the same family was calling me demilitant and stuff like that. Turn around saying, "Hey, this is black-owned company. You might want you want to check them out." And it I was looking like, you picked up on a black-owned company. You happy with it? You want me to? And sometimes it's like that. You don't necessarily get a hey, I was wrong. You get a hey, hey, I you might be interested in this. I know you specialize in this. So family, for those of us who are the boundary pushers, those of us who see where the needle's at and we just keep pushing a little bit further and further, understand that's just par for the course. It's unfortunate It sucks to a degree. You want to be recognized for the hard work you put into something, or you want to be respected and maybe even revered to a point. But you gotta keep pushing the needle. It's a sacrifice. Those who came before us, they made sacrifices. They're no longer with us. A lot of them didn't have an opportunity to choose to live a long life. They might have been gunned down. Fred Hampton. They might have been railroaded to prison. They may have been lynched. But the sacrifices they made allowed us to make the sacrifices we're making now and push that needle further towards justice. Now I'm gonna let this go a little bit further, then I'm gonna stop this video because I feel like I'm running long on this one as well. I don't want to run past an hour. I think the last one was like 30 something minutes. Just so I can, be concise and get these videos out to you. I don't want to give you a long, drawn out 1 hour video that's just me, just a bunch of drabble and me drooling over myself. We're not doing that.
Yeah,
This is what I heard. I don't know how true it is, but I do know.
Rena,
Uh-huh.
Rena, just one, and I don't want to get on you, but please don't say blacks. Please say
Oh,
black people. I just
okay.
think.
Okay.
Thank you.
You
Go ahead.
you said black people?
Yes, just say black people. Yeah,
Oh,
you can say
okay.
FBA if you want to too,
Oh,
but
okay.
blacks is just.
FBA.
Ugh.
Okay. Okay. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
thank you.
Did I say
No
something
problem.
else?
No, that was just it because that's what stuck out to me. I've been telling everybody, please don't say blacks.
Yeah, yeah, it's something that's annoying. And there's a channel that was recommended to me, and it was the Chronicles of Blacks. And I'm like, my antennas are raised up. I listened to one video. I'm actually gonna break that video down later on. Make sure you hold me to that. But yeah, when I hear the term the blacks, it's like, oh, okay. My eye, you gotta give me a side eye, even if it's a black person. Well, you blacks. What? Oh, okay, okay. All right, I got my eye on you. The blacks. Well, the blacks and what they're doing. The blacks. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna keep my eye on you, buddy. Yeah.
Because
Oh, okay.
being in the genealogy world, that's what white tea people would say. So
Oh,
that
okay.
just
Okay.
it just
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you.
I understand
Yeah.
because it's hard for me to use that word, period. So,
Right. Right.
but no, that's what I heard. That's what that is
Mm-hmm.
all about. That they're trying to
Oh,
delineate from them because they feel like they shouldn't get what they so called worked hard for. I don't know what they worked hard for, but that's what that's all about. They're fighting too.
yeah. I was gonna say is that
They worked hard at keeping us subjected and oppressed. That's what they worked
and
hard at.
stuff, and they do complain about it, but it's nowhere near to like how we're fighting against it and stuff. Like they'll watch like a clip or something like that, and they'll be like, yeah, we shouldn't be funding Ukraine and the small hat people and stuff, but they don't go as hard as to go against it and all that type of stuff. They'll just read a clip,
That's what I was talking
say
about.
something about it, and then that's about it. But yeah, they don't ever mention from what I watch, they don't ever mention like the when they first came over here and stuff. They don't ever mention that now, but they're now mentioning the alliance that
That's it.
America has with the small hat people, and then some of them want the war to stop in Ukraine. So yeah, they do mention it, but not
That's what
the
I was
same way
talking
that
about.
we
Like
mention it.
when the sister was saying they complaining. Yeah, that's it. It's word. It's what is it, lip service. It's lip service, but they're not. They could easily, hey, stop giving Ukraine money. They could go. They can get buck when we're trying to get something. They show up in droves to stop that. They're like, wait a minute, whoa, hold on. They're in all these lives and spaces, whether it's Professor Allen, whether it's Black Alpha Network, whether it's Tariq, whether, whoever, talking about what we shouldn't get and harping on it and doing studies. Like, well, I'm looking at these documents and these documents, I don't see why you guys should get what you're getting. If you look at the introspective scope of the realm of how things are working. Well, I'm black too. I'm 1%. So I should. You like what? You just try to crowbar your way into something that doesn't belong to you. That's something you're not owed? Okay. All right.
Okay, so let me put this out there. There's a clip of James Farmer and Malcolm X, and they're discussing certain things, right? And in the clip, for my all inclusive Negroes who feel maybe the Latinos and all these other people should be getting reparations with us, um, Malcolm X was against it. And the clip is out there. And as far as the Africans, he said the only time an
Mm,
African may face danger is until he opens his, not until he opens his mouth. Did I say that correctly? Or, but I'm going to go in there. The cop driving behind the car is likely running your plate already and sees your name. So Malcolm X was against certain things. As far as the Kings go, meaning Coretta Scott King, MLK, they weren't for open borders. And while I can't find the
mm,
document on MLK's statement, I can, thanks to Chichia, she provided a document of Coretta Scott King sending a letter to a senator, I believe it was Hatch, Senator Hatch, in the mid to late 1980s, which she said illegal immigration was harmful to the Black American community because it gave corporations a
mm.
guise to discriminate against us. It exploited the Latinos, and not only that, at the time they had 7 million unemployed people who could do the labor um, that the corporations and the government kept saying nobody wanted to do. So even our activists were in line with some core beliefs of
Mm.
FBA, of the lineage. No matter if you call yourself Black American.
And that's another lie, family. And I think I'm gonna stop it. I'm gonna make my commentary, and I think I'm gonna stop it right here. Let me do my thing real quick. I'm gonna clip it that way I can start here. If I choose to finish it tomorrow, if I choose to do like a part three, I can pick up where I left off. But one of the biggest lies sold to us was, "Oh, black folk don't want to work. Black folk don't want to work. Y'all don't want to work those jobs." That was such a sleight of hand, family. We were getting pushed out of these jobs, and until we started having camera phones and decent camera quality, 720p being kind of like the minimum, and upwards 720p and upwards of definition. Because remember, one time 720p was considered high definition. Now it's kind of standard definition. I remember seeing a video of these brothers. One brother had his phone. This is back when phones used to be a little bit taller. He had his phone in his pocket, his front pocket, back front pocket shirts. You know, I'm telling my age, but it was a brother. They were on a construction site, and this little Latino dude, so he came, hey man, what's going on, guys? Yeah, man, they're not gonna need you guys tomorrow. He's like, so what? Is he letting us go because what? And he had said we let us go because we black. No, 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 it's nothing like that, man. They just they got it. And he, horse crap. He's blowing smoke up their rear end. That's been happening. We just finally got an ability to record it in real time and show people, no, this has been happening. And it didn't start then. It started when they took the warehouses out of the black neighborhoods, when they took shop, shop, um, uh, mechanics, woodworking, plumbing, and all these. When they took all those the trades you can learn in high school, out of high school, that's when it started. They was like, no, we got to disenfranchise these Negroes. They coming out of school going straight to work and outworking everybody else. I remember my dad, and I got a song I did with my brother, and I'll probably drop it before summer this year. And he was a plumber. He worked for a company called Don and 10. He left them. They incompetent and racist, and I shouldn't be able to get sued because this was over 30 years ago. So he worked for this company. I forgot what the company name was, but they didn't like him. A Negro with his license. Oh no. What? With his license, and he had the good old boys from Oklahoma. This shows you just how deep seated this racial energy with Oklahoma is. So some boys out of Oklahoma coming down, and my dad he used to have a song that called "Oklahoma Sexuals Are Running Down the Plane," and he would say that because they would always smack each other on their butt and grab each other on their butt, and he was like, "What's wrong with these boys?" It's back in the '90s, and he was working on a. This is when Ridgemont Mall was being built. For those who know, if you're old enough and you're familiar with Texas, familiar with Fort Worth, so Ridgemont Mall was being built. And I remember helping my dad one day when it was like, take your kid to work with you. I was able to help him that one day, and I realized like, shoot, he be out getting it get hot down there when you down in the trench, and he's having to put this black cover over the piping. I think it was like a filter. So he's working. If I'm correct, it was not. It was not Dine 10 was the company, but he was at Ridgemont Mall, and it's happening the same week. He was working. He's working tools, and he's working around exposed wiring. So he went and talked to the electrician and said, "Hey, is the wire still hot?" He's like, "No, man, they're not that hot." Okay, cool. So he's working around him, and he had a tool, and he moved arbitrarily, and he got hit, and they believe it was holding him, which I think it was low current, low voltage. So it's holding him, and just through sheer willpower, he yanks himself away. And it's messing with. Of course, it's messing with his heart. It's messing with his body. It's affecting the rhythm of the electrical currents that's already naturally being made. And him being black man from the '90s, raised, born in the '60s, raised in the late '60s, early '70s. Hey, I got a family feed. I can't complain about this. I just gotta shake it off, shrug it off, and get back to work. So about a couple days later, he's working again. He goes up to the electrician and says, "Hey man, are those wires hot?" No, no, man. I'm sorry, man. No, they're not. They're not hot. This time he's working. I think this time was a pickaxe. He was using something that he was swinging, and caught the wire. This time it was, I think it was high current, high voltage, because it hit him and it knocked him away, and it boom, and he's discombobulated. He's trying to get up. He's and I kind of hate this. I love my father for this, but I kind of hate this because this is something we do as black men. He didn't make them get him an ambulance. I don't know if he tried to get them to get an ambulance or he just wouldn't do it. But he's like, forget it. I'll take myself to the hospital. So he gets up. This is back when payphones were still working. So he gets up. He's trying to drive. He can't drive. His body, you got hit with a bunch of voltage, a bunch of current go through your body. Your circuitry ain't working the way it's supposed to. So he drives up to a 7-Eleven, hits payphone, tries to call my mom. Well, there was a dude working on the telephone poles, and he wasn't paying attention to what he was doing. He drives off. He had wires still wrapped around the pole, so it pulls the pole, hits my dad, top of the head, right about the crown. Knocks him about 20, 30 feet away from the telephone pole. He wakes up, head split open, spine compressed, herniated discs, and that was the catalyst of my dad not being able to work back in his field the way he was, because at the time, especially with the medicine and the way it was back in the '90s, the doctor was like, "You can go back to being a plumber. You can go back to doing the work. You're probably gonna be in a wheelchair now. You're probably gonna end up in a wheelchair." So, family, this idea that black folk don't want to work, this idea that black folk are just inherently lazy, we ain't trying. No, we get pushed out one way or another. And no, we didn't get a big settlement because we had my dad. This is why, part of the reason why he didn't really care for black folk in a professional realm like that, or supporting black folk like that, because it was a lawyer by the name of Timmy White, which I still can't find his picture. Here in the Fort Worth area, the FWA area rather. He chose him to be his lawyer. And what the other law firm did was they came to him, said, "Hey, you throw this case, and we'll give you some of our higher end clients." Well, from my understanding, and my dad, he did his research. Well, there's nothing he could do. That was legally allowed. So my dad turned around and resued with the a different company, a different law firm, and I think there was some Jewish lawyers, which they're dynamic. And they was able to get us like 40 grand back then. And 40 grand in the 90s was a lot of money. 40 grand was, the white dudes, they would make 40 grand, they were doing well. And that's, became the catalyst of him not liking black owned companies like that and calling me Bob. That was who called me Bob. Love my pops, what I'm saying? I'm glad he's able to turn around. But that forced us out of the potential wealth we could have had. And part of what sucked about that was my dad, prior to all that happening, had an opportunity to, move us into Kansas, but he didn't want to take, we want to take his kids out of school, where we were at and what we knew, and do something different like that. And that's probably another story for a different time. And if I do tell that, I want him to be president. I would love for him to tell the story. And family, let me know if you want him to tell the story on wax and let you guys know about what he dealt with as a man who was in his 60s dealing with racism here in the Fort Worth area, having been a Stop Six, a man who grew up in Stop Six, Fort Worth, graduated from Dunbar High School, or came out of Dunbar High School. So let me know if you want that story. And no, family, you're not inherently lazy. No, you're not a degenerate from the day you were born to the day you die. You're just systematically oppressed and pushed out of opportunities and disenfranchised. Family, love you all. Thank you for the support. Keep it B1. Peace.